place them here. Ding, 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 ding. I like that. Oh yeah, let's do some painting. Hey, I'm Roman and I'm in my painting studio in Augsburg, Germany at the moment. Join me while I explore the Army Painter Speedpaint Markers and let me show you how I include them in my workflow. In this tutorial I will show you how I painted the metallics on this guy, for example, how I bring in variation into this paint job with the markers, and also how I tackled this yellow jacket over here with the markers, and much more. Let's do some happy painting. I prepared this little thing over here, which is just like a wooden plinth. I prepared two that I used some acrylic paste on top to give it a little texture and structure. Let's make, this is like rippled, so let's make an ocean over here. I like to explore new techniques, new material, new styles, and painted a bust by Romain van der Bogart. For the pattern on the fish, I decided to use markers to just give me a kickstart on painting and drawing them. So basically, this was the start for me for exploring a wide adventure with using markers in my miniature art. And why am I starting ocean waves with yellow? Yeah, I don't know. We will find out. I want to add some green in there too. That's quite nice. And of course, I'm nervous. To be honest, I'm truly nervous, and of course, I feel the danger of fear and maybe destroying this right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like a superhero or something. I feel that, but I kind of ignore it and paint on and trust. I just want to get a basic feeling. How do they apply? How do they get out of? That's pretty cool. The glue is quite soft, I like it, and as I expected, it mixes a little bit. The cool thing is with these that the dilution is always the same, so I don't have to go back to my white palette and check back what's going on with my brush or something. This is quite convenient, I'd say, really. This is like super convenient. Creating something maybe desert-like. I want some wide lines that I use with acrylics to just paint these on, to have some waves going on. I use my white rather thick. Shall we do? I'm just playing around. So if I want to have quick like leaves on the water here, I'm doing them right now just because I can. And I think looking at my desert base and also already my water base was a successful test. I find these markers really helpful. I want to do a little bit more interesting bases. Let's go with this set of Dungeons and Laser bases that I have over here, and let's pick some that I find very interesting and make them work really nicely. I will start with one desert base over here. Every one of us, you and I, we have toolboxes. Toolboxes where we place something that we learned. Not experienced or watched on YouTube, but learned. Basic example is a screwdriver. If you know what to do with a screwdriver, you can basically pick it from your toolbox and use it without thinking about it. That's because you learned how to use a screwdriver and what to do with it. You can do the same with miniature painting. So the more things you put in your toolbox, the more space you have to explore new things, and the more space you have in your head and mind to also find solutions on your way to finalize a project. Markers are a great tool to put to your toolbox. That's what I can say from almost studying using markers in my miniature art for 10 years now. You can push the tip into some recesses. That's really nice. and I also don't need to be scared, like with a brush, that I wouldn't damage the tip. And if I damage the tip on the long term, I can go back and just replace it. It's very convenient. It's like you can be super fast with these, which is lovely, and even with a little bit more time invested, you can be fast and with good results. And the fast to quick results are even great already, but of course every minute invested will create something that you will enjoy more, so to speak. And of course, what I also did on the other elements, like on my first tryouts, I will definitely also use these in different layers. So I will use some regular paints right now on top of this. I could be fine with the first result, and if I really want to go for speed, I would just be happy and satisfied. But you see, I'm not taking a lot of time here, and I'm going on bringing in some really cool, and I would even say lovely details that are quick work. And then I will work on top of these again with the markers, with the help of the markers. And I find that small drop of green that I got in there really inspiring for making maybe a green glow. That was fun. I'm playing around. Maybe I will play around with this a little bit more very soon. There's basically the silver I still want to test. Hello, hello, hello. On this gentleman, I'll try to push the sword as far as I can using the wonderful Speedpaint Markers from the Army Painter. So what I do now is I take the polished silver and I go full in on the sword. Everything on the sword. I will even touch the parts that I want to do as gold afterwards. So I will tint them later on also with the markers. I'm using the Graveyard Gray, and add some shadows to the metals. This of course also calms down the reflections of the metal. With this I can later on bring them back on a little bit, so I can make them return. I now tint everything that should be golden in gold. Let's add some deeper shadows to the silver. We've got to be a little bit more careful now in the smaller areas. Back to the gold with some hardened leather. So that blade is entirely painted with the Speedpaint Markers. That's pretty cool, very convincing for the time that is invested. Looks amazing on every gaming model, I think. Some final miniature touches on the edges on the gold, just to make them available for the eye. On the metal parts, I used these 5 markers, and that was a lot of fun. Going for gold and going for some shiny silver. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm not a product developer. I know I'm a teacher, and I know what I want to teach. I know what my students need, and I know what I need for my workflow in my toolbox. And I stepped up to the Army Painter because I really feel home with the Army Painter, with the philosophy and what they're doing, and also friends are there involved, and it's like a big family that I want to be part of, and I'm part of basically, which is super nice. I want to check how far I can bring in some shadow into the yellow by using the Speedpaint Markers. The yellow is basically airbrushed quite quickly, and I will just bang in some shadows there, some shadow and contrast work. Of course, I could go from yellow to orange, and then I would have orange shadows. But what I want to have is I want to have darker shadows, basically. That means I'm working with my with a gray first, with Graveyard Gray. And of course, this does not look good right now. I'm not aiming for having a great look right now in this stage. I'm sketching my way into that without fear. just painting in my shadows into the fabrics. It's quite convincing that I really always have the exact dilution that I need over here. I do know where I want to put my shadows, just because I've done this many times in my life so far. I'm very much looking forward to see if the outcome will be good on this, because I have no idea yet. I'm just brave and bold, and if there's something that I might have to reconsider, I can always do that. And I might even do this later on with a brush in hand. So I'm just want to see how far I can get with the Speedpaint markers, including them into the workflow of this bust. Next step would be taking the yellow and tinting everything yellow, so to speak, but leaving some of the highlights still up on the shoulder and some of the highlights left on the wrinkles, and then taking the orange to tint the shadows, the dark shadows, a little bit orange. That's my try, and then I'll see if I need the brush. It looks wild and rough at the moment. Like I said, I don't mind that. I really don't mind. I'm convinced and always sure that I reach the goal that I want. I'm just playing at the moment, really playful, applying more and more shadows. I need to wait a little bit until it's dry. I should be more patient as a miniature painter, but I'm not. Maybe my shadows were a little bit too dark. Let's see. I now want to tint them more reddish orange. Okay, let's go back to the brush and check back with that I can clean this up with more yellow. I'm focusing on not spending too much time on this, basically, like on this model. I really wanted to give this a try on how quick I can work my shadows in with the use of the markers. As on a display piece, it just takes more time that needs to be invested to make transitions smooth and everything. But I do like the approach of a quick sketch of shadows and light and everything. So this is like comes really in handy. And of course we can continue this where it's needed, but I told you I don't want to spend too much time on this. I really want to play some more with some ideas I have in mind with the markers, using the markers. So I would call this a day very soon. This is not bad. I really liked it for the speed. I still have to clean up something here and there and continue with working on this. But I like the sketchy approach I get from the Speedpaint markers to sketch in my shadows and then build on top of this. Hope you enjoyed it. Next example is this microbust by Insomnia Miniatures, and this is the stage at the moment. It's a wildly loose stage where it has a space colors, a little bit of variation play that I did with the brush and the airbrush, so it's really wild, and I just want to see if I can go in there with some blues and increase the shadows with some blue colors, but I want to have it greenish blue. That means I will start with a green and place some colors and I can even work a little bit of texture, variation, skin variation with some dots here and there, and I will increase this green before I will add some more blue to it. But mainly working on the shadow and a little bit to bring in some really interesting variation over here on this little man. The Fishman down from the ocean. He's not sure if he's friendly. Almost not. He might bite you in your leg. So I'm using the Speedpaint markers to also help bring in variation into my underpaintings. That's really lovely and quick. Time for summary. From these first tests on the Speedpaint markers from the Army Painter, I can say I like them a lot. I included them into my workflow. I experimented to get to know their properties and played a little bit to see what I can do with them. Let me start with these cubes, where I basically just want to get to know the tools. I usually do this with every new tool I have in my possession. So I give this a testing round to understand its properties. I really enjoyed how the Speedpaint formula is flowing out of the marker. That color flow is the right amount of paint, that it's not overflowing. It's just like in the perfect amount that I can always be in control of what I'm doing there, no matter the object. I would call these also a testing round. I wanted to see how the markers can be included in my playful approach to achieve results, and these bases show a little bit of different materials. What I really like about the markers on such things is that I can grab out details like the skulls over here and the wood and the scorpion quite easily with the markers. I didn't expect that. The brush tip really helped me to grab these details here. That was really nice. I can tell you from my testing period, I never had to switch one of these tips, but I really enjoy how easy it worked. I did a dry test basically. So in case you paint as long as you might kill these brush tips, you can quickly switch and change them. That was really eye-opening and fascinating. Using the Speedpaint markers here on several layers also showed me that I can include almost a color variation in different layers when I put them on top of each other. I really like that, and additionally with some brushwork, quick, super fast results can be achieved. Chapter 3, True Metallic Metals. I can honestly say it's amazing for quick metals. It's just like banging with your marker and then just add a little bit of shadow here and there. Also for detail work, I was able to even grab some edge highlights here and there. That was really fun on this part, and it's super fast. I got super excited about using the orange and yellow on top of the silver again to create like some gold, and this worked out really nice. And also for the time invested, I'm super happy with the result. The yellow jacket from the lady over here. Experimenting, you can say. I really found out how I can include this in my workflow. I really enjoy to be so bold with the markers, like throwing in these shadows, placing them where I want to place them without thinking about dilution or refilling the brush. That really helped me to just focus on where I place these shadows. I had to repair afterwards with the brush because I was a little bit too fast and enjoyed that too much, but I also liked how tintable these surfaces are. Like if I put these layers on top of each other, they tint each other quite well. So if, for example, if I place the gray below it and then on top another yellow or orange, they tint each other and just create some shadow parts. So I like this layer game that you can achieve with the Speedpaint markers, and that was quite a lot of fun. So basically I'm really interested in exploring this more, even for display models. This is definitely a great tool. With the Fishman approach, I wanted to check back if my underpainting can be more defined in detail and color variations before I work with my brush on top of it again. My summary from this test is basically it's pure fun. Just opening a marker, just using the marker and bringing the color where you want it, opening the next marker. I didn't even close the markers. I just was like having them open here and just like bam, 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 bam. It gives me a lot of freedom as when I can just play with color instead of thinking about loading up the brush. I paint with less unnecessary worries when I use them. And I think on the balance of invested time and efficiency, the possibilities are really awesome what these create for me, and I'm looking forward to the next future releases of these as I want to play much more. I just played with 10 and that's so much fun already, and I can say it's a great tool. It's honestly a great tool that I would integrate in my workflow from now on. Happy painting, Roman out, bye bye.